Recent reports confirm that the U.S. military conducted airstrikes in Nigeria under the instruction of President Donald Trump on December 25, 2025, Christmas Day, targeting Islamic State-affiliated militants in northwest Sokoto State. The strikes came just hours after a teenage suicide bomber entered a mosque in Maiduguri, Borno State, at approximately 6:15 p.m. on Christmas Eve, detonating an improvised explosive device that killed himself and at least 5 worshippers, while injuring no fewer than 35 others. The airstrikes were authorized by President Trump and carried out in coordination with the Nigerian government as part of broader counterterrorism efforts. This escalation followed Trump's earlier public threats that the United States could deploy military force, including airstrikes or ground troops, if attacks on Christian communities in northern Nigeria continued. Those remarks drew significant backlash, including from Nigerians who expressed skepticism about Trump's motives and concerns about foreign intervention. On December 25th, the U.S. launched precision strikes against ISIS-linked militant positions in Sokoto State, with President Trump framing the operation as a direct response to extremist violence. The U.S. military later confirmed that multiple terrorists were killed in the missile strikes. The Department of Defense released footage of the launches, and later that evening, at approximately 5:59 p.m., Trump posted on social media stating, "I have previously warned these terrorists that if they did not stop the slaughtering of Christians, there would be hell to pay." And tonight there was. He added that the Department of War executed numerous perfect strikes, asserting that such actions were possible only by the United States. Trump went on to say that under his leadership, radical Islamic terrorism would not be allowed to prosper, ending his statement with a Christmas message that included a controversial remark directed at the dead terrorists.
Please help us make 1,000 subscribers by the year end. Make sure to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and leave comments down below so I can find out what content you'd like to see, and I will reply to everyone. Don't forget to hit the bell to be notified as soon as the next video drops.
Nigeria later acknowledged its involvement in planning the operation. A notable shift from earlier statements by some officials who had denied allegations of organized Islamist terrorism or claims of a targeted genocide against Christians. The Nigerian foreign minister defended the strikes, emphasizing that the operation was not a war against any religion, but a war against terrorism. This sentiment of cooperation is echoed in news media. However, there are some who feel Nigeria is making the effort to appear to be in agreement because they don't feel Trump would have accepted no to his request to intervene. Opposition from the Nigerian government wouldn't have been an option, and hence the authorities want to appear to be in agreement with the United States, also to avoid the look of being unequal in this partnership. President Trump has condemned militant groups in northern Nigeria as terrorist scum, accusing them of viciously killing primarily innocent Christians. The operation comes after years of deadly violence in northern Nigeria, where mass killings have displaced entire communities. While Christians have been frequent targets, insecurity has affected Muslim and indigenous populations as well, with widespread fear of kidnapping, banditry, and murder. Many residents across the region live under constant threat, regardless of religious identity. President Trump has condemned militant groups in northern Nigeria as terrorist scum, accusing them of viciously killing primarily innocent Christians. The operation comes after years of deadly violence in northern Nigeria, where mass killings have displaced entire communities. While Christians have been frequent targets, insecurity has affected Muslim and indigenous populations as well, with widespread fear of kidnapping, banditry, and murder. Many residents across the region live under constant threat, regardless of religious identity. The timing of the strike shocked many, as it occurred on Christmas Day itself. While Trump's threats were widely known, few expected such rapid follow-through. The strikes were concentrated in northern Nigeria, a region bordering areas plagued by cross-border banditry and militant activity. Supporters argue the operation serves as a warning to terrorist groups across the region that continued violence will be met with further military action. Might I mention, there's been the airstrikes on the Nigerian Northern Islamic State, which we all know have taken place, evidenced by actual real-time footage from the U.S. defense. There's confirmation of the attack on the target, also confirmed by images and footage of the bombings and scoured debris, but unlike any bomb scene, no response as yet, 2 days later, from the associated terrorist groups, or evidence of dead bodies and casualties that could be expected, besides news reports from the U.S. military announcing they've killed many terrorist cell groups in the strike. Only images of calm but roused-up residents around the bomb locations. Perhaps this was more of a scare tactic and was meant to scare off the terrorist with a show of strength rather than create casualties. Might give context to Trump's image as peacemaker. But a little more on that later. Military analysts and reporters suspect the missiles were launched from the U.S. Navy destroyer USS Paul Ignatius, likely using Tomahawk cruise missiles guided by GPS systems. The warship reportedly traveled from France and docked in Morocco before entering Atlantic waters, from where the strike may have been launched. Debris recovered from the strike site was analyzed and found to include components manufactured by Honeywell International, a U.S. defense contractor supplying advanced weapons technology to the U.S. and NATO. The missile was reportedly manufactured in 2017, indicating the use of a modern, high-capability warhead. However, key operational details remain classified, and correspondents are awaiting further updates from U.S. military officials. Local residents described hearing deafening explosions late Thursday evening. Bright red lights reportedly illuminated the sky, turning night into day for hours as fires burned. Witnesses said the heat was intense and vibrations caused homes to shake. While no civilian casualties have been confirmed so far, authorities warn that collateral damage is always a risk in operations of this scale. Despite the U.S. intervention, skepticism remains among Nigerians and African analysts about the effectiveness of such strikes. Many note that militancy in Nigeria has survived years of domestic and regional military campaigns because it is deeply rooted in social, economic, and governance challenges. Critics warn that without sustained investment in intelligence, policing, justice systems, and development, high-profile airstrikes may be largely symbolic and could even provoke retaliatory attacks against civilians. African media coverage has therefore framed the strikes less as a decisive solution and more as a moment that exposes unresolved questions about security, sovereignty, and who ultimately shapes Nigeria's future. This operation also fits into a broader pattern of Trump-era military actions across parts of Africa, which Trump has often characterized as swift victories that ended conflicts rather than prolonged them. Supporters view these actions as reinforcing his image as a decisive leader and global power broker, while critics see them as attempts to project dominance and expand U.S. influence on the continent under the banner of peacekeeping.
In Washington, lawmakers on Capitol Hill have been sharply divided. Some support Trump's actions, arguing that limited force is necessary to prevent greater conflict and deter terrorism. Others question whether the president had constitutional authority to order the strikes without congressional approval, warning that bypassing Congress weakens democratic oversight and sets a dangerous precedent. Some lawmakers and analysts also caution against framing the violence purely in religious terms, noting that data suggests Nigeria's conflict is driven by a complex mix of ethnic tensions, criminal banditry, land disputes, and political instability, not solely religious persecution. In the weeks ahead, the strikes are expected to remain a subject of discussion within the U.S. cabinet. As with any overseas military action that raises constitutional, diplomatic, and humanitarian questions, senior officials in defense, foreign policy, intelligence, and homeland security are likely to review the operation's outcomes, assess escalation risks, evaluate international responses, and coordinate the administration's messaging going forward. Stay tuned for more updates on soon-to-be declassified information as the event continues to unfold. Make sure to subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up if you're in support of Trump's intervention in the unjust, unlawful killings of hundreds of men, women, and children in Africa. Leave comments down below so I can find out specific information you need, and I will reply to everyone. Don't forget to hit the bell to be notified as soon as the next video drops. See you in the next one.